All right. What's up, everyone? Today we're covering first week is over of school. Now what? So it's beginning of the semester. It is a nightmare. I mean, there is thousands and thousands and thousands of students that come back. And today, Alexa and I are going to be discussing that. So thanks for joining, everyone. What's up, Alexa? ¿Cómo estás?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm excited now that
Right on.
everybody's finishing up their first week. Exciting.
Ooh, first week is exciting, but also very traumatizing because I'll tell you, I've been working at community colleges for a very, very, very long time. And it is as smooth as schools want it to be. I mean, they paint a smooth picture, but in the background, it is chaos. And right now, chaos is happening because up here in Northern California, Los Rios Community College District started last week. You're talking about 70,000 students in 4 colleges: American River College, Sacramento City College, Folsom Lake College, and Cosumnes River College. And so it's crazy, crazy right now at the campuses. People parking's crazy, enrollment's crazy. There's often, and I hate to say this, there's often technical issues. So, now that the first week is getting on, you're probably experiencing a lot of technical issues right now, whether it's your e-services system, which is the system that students use to sign up for classes or not. They crash. Technology isn't really, we're not, schools are not known for technology, so they crash a lot, right? And so there's the e-services, which is the portal you use to add and drop classes. There's also other technologies like Canvas that you use, and Canvas is really like the classroom. So that's where you're actually turning in homework, talking to the professor, via the online portal called Canvas. Think about that as your classroom. And so all of those tools, all of those tech tools that every student has to use, that first week is jam-packed with, potential it crashing, potential it not working well because there's so many users, etc. So, now that if you're feeling the frustration, I want to start off with that. That's the number one thing you're going to be frustrated with as soon as the first week of school hits, is the technology frustration. And so, Alexa will join us here in just a second again. So, again, today we're covering, now that the first week of school has started, or now that it's over, now what? Well, the now what is really potential problems, okay? First and foremost, technology problems. We're experiencing again this semester. There's some technology problems that are delaying students' ability to add more classes or to drop some classes, et cetera, et cetera. As a student, as well as a counselor telling the student, or as an advisor telling the student, anyone that I'm advising, it's be patient, because the technology is quite unstable, especially when there's this many users in the beginning. So be patient. Um, your instructors know that there's an issue, so instructors are going to be a lot more flexible during the first week, because there's a lot of kind of issues that tend to pop up when there's this many users, using a technology right away after that they haven't used it for a few months. So make sure that you read your syllabus. Your syllabus, every professor that teaches a class must provide the class with the syllabus. The syllabus is basically the rules of that class. And so that syllabus, you need to read that thing 3 times. And I hate to say it, because once is not enough. The syllabus I write for my class, whenever there's a problem or a question, I say, did you read the syllabus? That's what I say to the person. And then they're like, well, remember I gave you the syllabus first week of class. I asked you to read it 3 times. Did you read the syllabus? Because there's sometimes they'll be like, well, I did turn in this homework, and in the syllabus there's rules, so you lose certain points if you turn them in stuff late, or there's some things that some professors won't accept at all, being late, right? Because part of our job is to get you to that professional level where you can just be producing and meeting deadlines as quickly as possible. So part of the experience of college, you need to know the rules for each class. That's the syllabus. So that's critically important, that in that first week, you're looking at every syllabus for every single class, and you're reading that thing 3 times. And when you have a question, you need to ask. Because if you don't ask and get clarification, you're going to get in trouble. And I'm going to ask Alexa in just a minute if she ever read her syllabus 3 times of every one of those classes that she's taken for her degree that she finished last year. So, Alexa, did you or not?
I never read it 3 times, but I definitely would take my time to read like the policies that each professor has because each one is like some of them are flexible with deadlines, others are like, nope, like we have a zero acceptance policy for late work. Um,
Some
or
allow artificial intelligence, some don't now. That's a big one nowadays, right? At all, right? You got to keep that in mind for those of you that use it. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
there's other things in there. Late policy. What's their late policy? Like some professors
yeah,
are like, you show up 5 minutes late, don't show up, you know?
yes,
But others are totally flexible. I mean, I when I was teaching on the ground, I was flexible. I mean, I'm like, dude, something happens, parking's terrible, things happen. Just be honest about it and get back to work basically, so you're never going to know until you read the syllabus. Once you know the rules of the game, then you know how to play that game. And so another tip on the syllabus is I used to read, where are most of the points awarded? Like, are the most of the points awarded at the midterm test, or are most of the points awarded at the final, or are most of the points awarded through
mm,
homework, or most of the points awarded through class participation?
that's
So
so
then
true
I'd be like,
too.
okay, I'm not an A. I was never an A student. I was like, dude, I got to work, man. I need to, I can put in this much time to a class that wants this much time, right? And so I would
Right.
figure out, okay, if I participate in class, and that means like, ask questions, challenge the professor, that kind of stuff. If that's half of my grade, I'm going to be asking a question every single class. I'm going to make sure that professor knows my name. Why? It's half the grade.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd look at the like homework assignments and, say there's 20 homework assignments. Okay, if I turn in at least 10, I'm going to get another, 20%. Okay, now I'm at 70. All right, I'm at a C level as long as and then I'd calculate, what a B would look like and what an A would look like. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, in college, try to get the best grades possible, but at the end of the day, C's get degrees. Okay.
Right.
At the end of the day, no one's going to ask you. No one. I swear, I've been a college faculty member for 25 years, I think now. Not once has anyone ever asked me where my degree is from.
Mm.
Most of the people I've worked for 23 years have no idea where I got my master's degree from or my bachelor's degree from or my associate's degree. They have no idea. Okay. And I don't have an idea of theirs either because it doesn't matter.
Mm.
What matters is you're qualified to do the work because you have the degrees and the experience, and so that's why we gave you the job. So there's no reason to ask. And then much less, they don't know if I was a 4.0 student or a 2.0 student. And I don't know if they were a 4.0 student or a 2.0 student. So again, it doesn't matter. And so, what matters to you is read the damn syllabus
Yeah.
3 times, because when you read it 3 times, now you really are starting to absorb it into your long-term memory. You'll probably skim it a couple more times throughout the semester just to kind of remember, like, oh shit, was the midterm
Mhm.
25% or was it 5%? Because if it's 5% of my grade, yeah, I could, if I don't have enough time to study, I'm not going to stress about it. But if it's 50% of my grade, that changes things. So the syllabus, the syllabus, the syllabus. If you're just joining us, everyone, we're talking about this first week of school when you started a new semester. It's
Mhm.
chaos. It is
It
chaos.
is.
Eventually, it'll blow over, but the chaos causes a lot of problems for students on campus. Another big problem in the Los Rios district, which is the second largest, and I know I got some colleagues down in the LA district as well, is because they have so many people overloading like the software that adds and drop cuts. Sometimes that overloads the financial aid. So I hate to tell you, y'all, those of you out here in Northern California, financial aid's going to get delayed this semester, right? Coming up fall 2026 we're hoping not past September 4th to be able to issue those grants that are associated with like federal Pell grants, FESOG grants. So if you're waiting on your financial aid, you want to make sure that, you're looking at all of your options, right?
Yeah.
There's emergency grants that you can apply for. There's food pantries that can hold you over because, money's important, and you need that money to pay bills. You need that money to buy books. You need that money for whatever it is you use your financial aid money for,
Yeah.
right? So that your life can be stable enough for you to take some more classes. So, at the district where I'm at, it happens often that the technology fails. And when it does, it causes delays. That doesn't mean drop out. That doesn't mean that the colleges don't want you there, et cetera, et cetera. It just means that things often get delayed. And this is one of those times in the fall 2026 that it's happening again, where we unfortunately have to delay financial aid awards because of the technology issues that are happening. So, back to that is some of those deadlines that you're supposed to, if you check out our last, recording, we talked about the academic calendar and deadlines. Some of those deadlines, we're going to, the college is going to be more flexible with, right? Instructors now know like, oh, students, if the system isn't working, if it's offline, students can't add the class. So now, we're going to have to work around that and still get students enrolled in the classes. So all those add deadlines, all those people are going to be more flexible, and that's because of the issues that some schools are having right now with the tech. And it's not just out here in Northern California. You're talking about the largest system of higher education in America is the California community colleges. 2 million students statewide. And so you're talking about big, industries. This is like the biggest it gets in terms of trying to manage so many people, and each district tries its best to do its best. But unfortunately, sometimes things break. And that's what we're experiencing right now up here in Northern Cal at the second largest district in Cali. So deadlines, try to meet them. But if you don't, blame the system and get an extension.
Yes.
Blame the system and ask for an extension. Okay, don't just walk away with your head down if they say no. Just go, hey, it was totally out of my control that your guys' systems collapsed, right? So
Yeah.
I expect you guys to be more flexible because those systems collapsed.
Yeah. Well, I
Any
have
other?
a question.
Yeah, for sure. Go for it.
Um, what happens when your professor is not responding the first week, and you have a really important question about, whatever
Class.
syllabus,
Hmm.
anything?
Hmm. So a couple things here is, let's assume you're in this class, right? And the first week has started and you're ready to go. You logged in, you see it on your schedule, or you went to the class if it's in person,
Hmm.
and there's a professor there, etc. But they're not being responsive to your communication, right? And
Hmm.
so, we're trying to think of it this way: is the college system is trying to teach you how to be a better professional.
Hmm.
You're going to run into that kind of crap all your life. You're going
Yeah.
to get dissed. You're going to get ignored. It doesn't matter who you are. That's going to happen to you, right? In different
Yes.
situations. So you have to learn to navigate that in a way where everyone saves face. Because I don't think people are purposely dissing you. There's a lot of shit going on. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? There's a lot of important things in everybody's life, including yours, right? We all think we're the most important. Well, to you, you're the most important, but to everyone else, they have a lot of things that are important too. And so sometimes, you fall through the cracks. That's honest God truth. Is just, it's not that they don't like you, it's just there's so many things happening, you fall through the cracks. So that's one potential thing that's happening, is you're falling through the cracks when it comes to the communication. Maybe you send an email. That's always like my go-to email because it's in writing. Okay. And email, I always carbon copy my own personal email. Why? I got a copy. That's how you keep a copy, right? You put it to and then CC your own personal email on purpose. That way you always have a copy of that email. Even if the servers burn up wherever they went to, your server for your Gmail over here didn't. And so you will always have a copy. And it's putting things in writing. And you want to document that. Send an email, on a Monday or something. And then wait till Wednesday. Give it a reasonable amount of time. 48 hours is reasonable. 72 hours, it's still reasonable, in education. And again, know where you're at. Okay, education is slow. Okay, we're a dinosaur. We barely move, and that's just the way it is. If you were in a high technology company, they're moving at the speed of light. They expect an email response within the hour. You know what I mean? But when you're in education, nah, it don't work that way. You need to slow the hell down because the system doesn't function that way. It would literally collapse if it did. And so, give them 72 hours is what I would say before you send another email. Okay. Then send another email, because you need to keep track that you're continuously trying to communicate with this person in a very nice and professional way, but direct, right? Don't be a pushover. Be direct and be short. The shorter you are, the faster we can respond, but give enough information so that we can respond. Send a second email. Okay. I would probably do a 48-hour wait on that one, because now it just went twice. Okay. Third one, I'm going to find the employee directory on your website. I'm going to identify who your boss is and your boss's email. And now your boss, which is the dean or the associate vice president or the vice president or the president, depending on who the person is that you're trying to get a hold of, is going to get a copy of that. And now also you're copying your personal email. And so at that point, I would give it no more than 48 hours before another email starts to come out, because unfortunately, sometimes things like this happen. As long as you have good intent, okay, good intent, and you're being as professional as you can be, we understand the system is frustrating, you will eventually get that problem resolved. But here's what happens, and here's how people, and it happens every day, I think. Who will stop sending messages is the student. You sent one email, they didn't get back to you, and you never followed up. So no one is going to follow up. No one. Like the professor isn't, no one is. I'm telling you that right now. In college, you're an adult. And you're an adult, we treat you like an adult. You don't follow up, you don't ask questions, they kind of don't care. You know what I mean? And so as a student in the system, that when someone's not getting back to you, be nice, be professional, but be persistent. Okay, don't let them hide, cover you. Don't let them hide you. You want to make sure that you're sending emails and you carbon copy the right people. If it's something truly terrible that has happened between the professor and you feel unsafe with that individual, whether it be a vice president or a professor or a counselor, whatever, then you can file a grievance, right? Every college has a grievance process, and you can file a grievance. It's usually in their catalog. I'd start with their website, search grievance, and it'll come up there, because if you feel unsafe with the person for whatever reason, right, it immediately gets escalated to that dean of that area, or potentially one of the administrators higher than the dean of that area, per your concern, right? Because your safety has to be the number one priority for any institution, right? And that includes safety in the classroom, safety with the professionals in an office. And it doesn't matter if it's someone that's helping clean the property or someone that sits at the executive table. Doesn't matter. Your safety is the most important as a student, as a community member, a non-student that just happens to be on campus. Again, your safety is the most important. So just know that you can file grievances against individuals, against departments, by the way you are treated on campus or through our online classes. So it doesn't necessarily have to be on campus. It could be virtual. Great question. But yeah, it happens. It happens often. True story, I had to do it with my daughter. I had to help her write an email to the university, at one of the universities she went to, the person who was supposed to help her, plus, 4 other people. And when that email went out, her problems were fixed within literally a day and a half. Everything was fixed. When she was being told that nothing can get fixed for months, it got fixed in a day and a half. And so, because, again, it's about trying to, not let students fall through the crack, but unfortunately she fell through the crack as well. So if you're listening, everyone, we're talking about the first week of school. We're in it. It's almost over. Now what? And I'm just saying, hey, be ready for issues. Unfortunately, there's going to be issues. There's going to be lots of issues, okay? So we talked about already, you need to read the syllabus, because the first issue is in the classroom with that professor. If you're not doing exactly what that professor said in the syllabus, you're in trouble already. You're going to get, you're not going to successfully pass the class, because the syllabus is what they must provide you by law so that you can be successful in that classroom by following the syllabus. Even if you don't like the instructor,
Yeah.
follow the syllabus.
Yes, I
Okay.
know. I was gonna ask, what if like somebody feels anxious because they don't like one of their classes? Like they don't know if they should drop a class or they should wait until the enrollment date deadline.
You know, that's a great question. I think the first important thing is knowing whether that class is required or not.
Mm,
Like that's the first thing. Is if you're say you're in a class in a that meets a requirement and it's the first
mhm,
week of school. Say you're in a class that meets the requirement. You know, is it just because you don't like the topic? Is it just because yeah, I don't like the professor? Is it that? Because if it's
mhm,
that, stay in the damn class and get over it and finish it. You, I mean, I'll be honest.
mhm.
Changing your schedule during the first week is hell.
It
I wouldn't
is.
even go there, right? Changing it for that reason. Now, if the reason is like, oh my God, it's the wrong class, it's not going
Mhm,
to count for in that pathway. It's not going to. Okay, that's different, right? Or the professor says, hey, you're in the wrong class. Like you're not even supposed to be in this class. This class is 3 classes after the one you're supposed to be in, like the prerequisite. So, like, say it's that situation. Okay, so now you should dump it. Okay, or you have to dump it, right? So yes, you have to dump the class, but that could cause consequences. That could cause consequences in financial aid. That could cause consequences in like your insurance. If you're getting a full-time student discount on your car insurance, and now you're not a full-time student because you had to dump a class, right? Now you're in 10 units instead of 12. That kind of stuff. That could cause consequences. So what I tell students is try to identify that as early as possible, right? Try to have met with your advisors, use our Techo Guide app, use our AI to Ask Techo AI feature to ask your questions so that you're getting probably the best answer possible. And then if you want, you can also schedule appointments with us. Right, so
mhm.
you can jump on my Calendly. Right, I'm cool with talking to anyone about making sure you're in the right classes and you're on the right path, and maybe you just need clarification, right? That you're a little confused on something. So make an appointment with me. We'll have a conversation, But first, use the tools, use the AI. It'll save you time. It'll save you a lot of time. You don't have to wait for an appointment, right?
Yeah.
Eventually, what I would say to someone like that is, okay, let's see what else you're missing.
Mhm,
What other requirements that you need to do in the next year or two? Like what else? What other majors are you considering? Are you just in one? Are you considering like, business and, psychology? Are you considering nursing and, artificial intelligence? Okay. We can then look for classes in the what we call the second 8 weeks of the semester. So the semester starts in August, like fall. Fall starts in August and kind of goes through December. That's 16 weeks.
mhm,
A lot of our colleges, especially in the bigger districts, like, Los Rios is a big district. We're the second biggest in California. LA is a big district. San Diego, big districts, big colleges. They'll offer like 16-week classes, and then they'll offer 8-week classes. First 8 weeks, second 8 weeks. So if you're like having to drop a class in August, in October, in the middle of October, they're going to start some more classes that are 8 weeks long. So then I would tell the student, hey, let's find you an 8-week class that starts October 15th, and we'll get you into that class so we can drop the one you're in now because it's the wrong class. So it just depends on the situation, right? For a lot of my students, I had to tell them, suck it up. It meets a requirement. Next time, don't sign up late, right? This time you're signing up late. It's some of my friends use beggars can't be choosers, man. If you're starving, bro, hey, something to eat is something. You got to eat something if you came in this late, and it just really depends. But if it's the wrong class, then we have to find other solutions for you because it's the wrong class. So other things, now that we're in this first week, everyone, so if you're just joining us, we're talking about the first week of pretty much every semester. There's a lot of chaos that's happening. It's high excitement because school's starting, but in the background, the technology problems that you're going to run into almost on a daily basis in the first week of school, because all of a sudden there's thousands of students using like the software, which is e-services in some districts. In other districts, it's like Web Advisor. In other districts, it's called something else. But it's your student accounts, which are tied to your financial aid account. So what you're going to run into problems. You're going to run into lots of problems. You're going to run into class cancellations. All of a sudden, the professor that was supposed to teach this class either quit, got a better job, passed away, something, all kinds of stuff happened. Okay. All of a sudden, those classes that professor was going to teach, those 3-4 classes they were going to teach are gone. So all of a sudden, you have 120, 200, 500 students that thought they were full-time, and then all of a sudden are not full-time, or thought they were going to be in 4 classes, now they're in 3, thought they were going to take 2, now they're in 1, because things like that happen. And so those types of students, I would highly recommend that you immediately start looking at the second 8-week classes. We call them late start. Some places call them that late start. Some people, like we like to call them first 8 weeks, second 8 weeks. If it's in August, second 8 weeks starts in the middle of October. So there's a few classes, not a whole lot, but there's some out there that you can enroll in. I helped a student literally today, and the semester already started for the August classes, get at least 12 units that they're going to try in the second 8 weeks. The only downside of the second 8 weeks is this. Normally we teach you the class in 16 weeks. Now we're going to teach it to you in 8. So it's twice as fast, because it's the same curriculum that we would teach you in 16. We're going to teach it to you in 8. So if you're taking 12 units in the second 8 weeks, it's going to feel like 20. Instead of the 16 week where you have today I don't have to study psychology. Today I don't have to study bio, that kind of stuff. In the second 8 week class, you're going to study that almost daily to make sure that you're doing enough work to pass the class.
And is it the same registration process?
Same registration. If the class has not started, okay, this is a good tip. You just were saying that, you reminded me. In our district up here in Northern California, Los Rios, the 4 colleges of the Sacramento area, if the class has not started, you can enroll, you can get on the wait list as long as it's open or the wait list is open. You can do that, and it'll be on your schedule.
Mm-hmm.
The day that class starts, then you must get this thing called permission number from the professor. Not from the counselor, not from the admissions. It's only once the class starts, the day that thing starts, you can't enroll in it anymore. You must go to the class if it meets in person and ask the professor for permission to be there. If they allow you to stay in the class, they're going to give you what's called a permission number. You're then going to use that at admissions and records or on your e-services to register. If it's an online class, well, they don't meet. So it's like, oh shit, I gotta find the email of the professor. I gotta find the employee directory of the, or the professor's name, find the directory, look them up, send them an email, say, hey, professor, I'm sorry. Remember, I always apologize. I'm sorry about being late.
Right.
I would like to be added to your history, C1000 class. To be cordial and be nice, right? Not a whole long, just go, here's my name, here's my ID number. Again, I apologize for not being there the first week or the first session or when it started. Hoping you can send me a permission number. That's it. And hopefully they send you permission. They say, sure, I'll add you, hopefully a permission number. What if they say no? Hopefully you sent that off to 5-6 different people, 5-6 different professors, because you're fishing now. You get what I'm saying? Now you're like, don't just focus on one class, because that professor might say, no, I'm too full. There's no way I can take it. Another professor might say, sure, I'll take it, because remember, everyone's different. Everyone has a different personality. Some professors are all about letting anyone in. Other professors are all like, hell no, it has to be blah, 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 right? So either way, send emails. Get it in writing. You should follow up with a phone call. Phone calls are nice, but emails in writing. Phone calls, if no one gets back to you, there's no proof you ever called. You know what I mean? Email, there's always proof. Okay. So in some cases, students have been treated, over the years, I've seen students treated so terribly that they had to literally keep a log of every time they communicate with the college.
Wow.
And spreadsheets, communicate with financial aid, communicate with admissions, because they were getting the runaround so much that they had to file grievances to the president saying, like, look at what you guys are doing. Like, they sent me to 50 different places, right? And it's not until, like, you get the attention of, like, the big shots that things start to change. But unfortunately, getting their attention, you want to show, look at how many emails I wrote them. That's what you want to show. Because if you say, well, I called 5 times, sure.
Yeah.
But if you said, here's a stack, a printout of the 17 emails I had to send and the time it wasted of all these people because something isn't working. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that you got to be upfront about that with the schools. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess with that, like I something that I have heard happens is like a class gets canceled at community colleges very often. What do you do when you no longer are a full-time student because a class dropped and now you have less than 12 credits or however many credits?
Hmm.
What happens to the financial aid?
Always know why you got dropped. Okay. Always find out why. Sometimes it's because you got dropped because we didn't receive payment for the
Uh,
class. Other times you got dropped because you accidentally were on e-services and clicked drop and didn't think it was going to drop you. Other times the class, here's the thing about counseling classes. There's a magic number. Like a class should be able to fit about 35 to 40 people. That's
yeah.
kind of like the goal. If you can fill the classroom to about 35, 40 people because schools are paid on enrollment.
Hmm.
So let's say a regular classroom, and because some classrooms are ginormous, so you want to fill 200 people, go for it, because
Hmm.
that's 200 heads. But say you have a regular classroom of like 40, okay?
Right.
As long as you have, at least where I'm at, as long as you have at least 20 people in the class, they'll let it go. They'll let it be taught because you have at least 20 people in the class. That's kind of the magic number. On a bad year, we may drop to like 18.
Oh.
Okay, but if you can get at least 20 people in your 40-person class, we're pretty much going to let you teach it. Okay. Anything under that is not worth you teaching it, so we cancel it.
Mm,
Okay? It's a business decision. It's usually a business decision.
I
So
see.
so sometimes as a student, if you see a class that still has 40 seats open on the first day, it's like, damn, that might get canceled. I want a
Yeah.
class that only has 3 seats open because that
Right.
class has the magic number of 20, right?
Oh,
So
I see.
strategy, college survival is all about strategy. Once you know these rules, you're going to be able to really navigate without having to be affected by cancellations because you're being strategic about it, right?
Yeah.
And so for that particular student that say maybe lost a class or two, okay, immediate 8 weeks, immediate, like start looking to the 8 weeks. We can help you find classes. I helped today 3 students because again you have to learn the software, the website, how to search, what to search for, and be open. So if you're doing this all late, what I would highly
Yeah.
recommend is you look for online classes at all the colleges in the district. So if you're here in Los Rios, click on all of them, all four, filter out, get all four: American River, Cosumnes, Folsom Lake, and
Hmm.
Sac City, and then zero it down to second 8 week session. So now you're, instead of getting 5,000 classes, you're going to get a list of like 150. And
Hmm.
then you filter that even more down to the areas that you need or the class name that you need.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be teaching it. Someone, either it's CRC, ARC, Sac City, or Folsom, someone's going to be teaching it. Some of them might be open for the second 8 weeks. If
Oh,
they're online, it doesn't matter where the damn class is at because
yeah.
you're not going to go there. You're taking the class online. So you'll have that on your transcript. So you know what I mean? As long as it's online, hey, you can live in Sacramento and be taking classes through LA City College
Yep.
because it's
That's how it
online.
is.
You're choosing
Yeah.
online classes. So if you want to go to San Diego City College and live in Sacramento, you can.
Yeah.
If you live out in the mountains and it's too far to drive anywhere, dude, you
Hmm.
can take classes at 116 colleges and you'll get units. Now, you want to do them in the same district. Why? Because I'm sure you're applying for financial aid.
Hmm.
Financial aid is only by district. It's
Yeah.
usually by college, but they'll consider by district for those students that are taking multiple classes at different colleges at the same time. So what
Wow.
I did today is I found 2 classes online for one student, second 8 weeks that starts in October. and
Mhm.
today is August 26th. So the semester has already started for August, but then
Yeah.
there's that second 8 week I mentioned. So I helped them find 2 classes at Sacramento City College online in their major for
Mhm.
second 8 weeks, and then 1 class at American River College online for a general ed requirement for one of their arts requirement, and
Mhm.
then another, I think it was a sociology class at CRC, Cosumnes River College, online second 8 weeks for their second human social and behavioral sciences requirement for the university. And
Yeah.
so they were like, holy crap, I thought I was done. And I go, no, dude, once you know that these things exist, like I do, because I've been working with them for years,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, you don't have an awesome schedule. That's not
Mhm.
but it's way better than zero,
Yeah.
so you're gonna have to be like, okay, so next time, and I tell students, I go, I go, as long as you sign up on time, next time, this will never happen to you again.
Yeah.
But this semester is going to be kind of like really compressed, but that's okay because it's better than wasting half a year of your life and not doing anything, like no classes. You know what I mean? I always tell them, take 1 or 2. If I can get you 4 and you want to go crazy like that in the second 8 weeks, let's do it. It's up to the student, not really up to us.
Yeah.
So
What
reminding everyone, we're talking about if your first week of school is over now. Now what? Well, now what comes with a lot of responsibilities on you. Okay. You
yeah.
have to be checking everything, triple checking, quadruple checking. What do I mean by that? Check your financial aid. We talked about this a few minutes ago. Right now, because of all the technical difficulties that are having up here in Northern California, with some of our school districts, is they've announced that they're going to delay financial aid disbursement. That is, man, it's like, oh shit. That means students that need the money aren't going to get the money for at least another couple weeks. They're aiming to have them available by September 4th. They're doing everything they can. Just trust me. We go through this often. It's the technology is it's ancient. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
when you get all of a sudden thousands and thousands and thousands of people onto the system, it often overloads it. And so, sure enough, that's what happened. And the system has been on and off every day for like it falls off and then it comes back. And again, I commend our IT people. They're doing everything they can.
Yeah.
But there are consequences, right? The
Yeah.
consequences are the financial aid is going to be delayed. Your
Uh,
enrollment might be delayed. If you're trying to add classes, it might be blocking you. It might be creating all kinds of errors for you. We're going to work out those
mhm.
errors. We're going to give you more time to add classes. Don't panic. Don't drop your classes that you're in right now. Stay on it. If you need resources, go to your campus homepage and just type in student resources. You're going to get a massive list of different resources that you can start
Mhm.
using while we figure out this whole financial aid mess now. Um, in the Los Rios district, they're aiming at like September 4th to be the first disbursement of the majority of the grants.
Right.
But again, there could be more delays. But again, we're just kind of working through it up here in Northern Cal. So
So
just as an
you
FYI, don't expect the check tomorrow.
yeah, I was gonna say,
Don't
like, when
expect
should you expect the
deposit.
money?
Yeah. So you ain't gonna get no money next week. It's probably gonna be
Yeah.
September 4th, right? And so there's food pantry resources on campus. There's emergency grants that you can ask for if you just again go to your campus homepage, and you can just type in under the search menu basic needs. If you type in basic needs
Mhm.
at Sacramento City College website, American River College website, Cosumnes River College, or Folsom Lake College website, you can start tapping into some of the additional resources to hold you through, because we know how important financial aid monies is. I lived off of that. My
Yeah.
rent was paid while I was a student, on
Yeah.
financial aid. And so, do what you have to do. Everyone's situation is a little bit different. If you got to talk to your landlords and just tell them that, things are happening to whoever's trying to collect money from you, tell them, hey, give us another 2 weeks to
Yeah.
get that out to you. So stay with us. Don't drop your classes. We'll get through this. This is part of those obstacles that life throws at you, and we're going to get through it. So if you need some more advice, specific advice for you, feel free to reach out to us. You can schedule your appointments, no charge, 30 minutes. Just do a virtual with me. The links there on the screen, and if you reach out to us on our social media platforms, we're happy to help. And it doesn't matter what school you're at, how old you are, where you're at, none of that. right? Because we are advisors and we know exactly what to tell you, and we'll figure out the problem at whatever school you're at.
Yeah.
So, please feel free to reach out to us because that's what we're here for. So to recap, last few things. It's the first week. Expect some issues, expect
Mhm.
problems, but take it with a grain of salt. This is the real life game. Check your financial aid. Check your campus email. I
Mm.
can't tell you how many students are not checking their student email. All
Yeah.
students have a college email account. You need to get in there and check that email account now every single day. If you
Yeah.
don't like checking that email account, do forwarding, like put in, it's a Gmail. So forward your Gmail to your personal Gmail. That way you're still getting the emails. They're just being forwarded to your personal account.
Yeah.
Last thing, check the class schedule. The second 8 weeks, there's still some classes available. Not a whole lot, but there's still some classes available that we start teaching after the August launch. There'll be like an October 15th launch of a handful of more classes. So check us out for additional classes that way. And then last thing is check your Canvas account at our district, or up here we use Canvas. Others might use a different learning platform, which is like your classroom. You need to be checking that every single day, literally now. That school has started. You need to be on that every day now. So, welcome to the fall semester and welcome to adulthood. Those of you that are brand new out of high school,
Yes.
these are now adult responsibilities, so don't get eliminated.
Yes.
Alexa, I want to say thank you for joining me
Thank
today.
you.
And if anyone sends us a message on DM for Techo Guide, we'll be sure to get back to you with an appointment link for you to be able to see us and get your problems resolved. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.